Is it working? Okay. Hi guys! Welcome back some more Disco Elysium. So yeah, we figured out, we got the key to the alleged to the lorry of the alleged trafficker. If you're getting the empathy check after, would have fixed it. Yeah, that's a fair point, though. Getting it after is significantly more difficult. That's a -4 penalty. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
This
Definitely
green found,
makes
A
me
to
feel
Z,
bad.
contemporary, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering. The door is locked. There's no picking this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design.
Recently replaced.
You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just... The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the
Great
seat
game if you want to
where
go
the
to sleep.
toolbox should be.
It's a story-driven game, dialogue and story, and it has a lot of, politics, social dynamics, things like that. It is great for like examining, you know, basically great if you're a humanities student.
These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century.
Like, I can't even begin to imagine the people, who came up and imagined this entire world and all the dialogue and everything to create this game. Like, the amount of creative work to come up
One
with
of
this
them
is
particularly catches
huge.
your eye. A centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade number 5. The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography. Less known
yeah, the
for
voices
her
are good, so
than her tragic, untimely death.
I don't disagree with Kovac that it's a good game to fall asleep to based on the voice acting, but it's also a very, like...
She wasted away in a drug den called The Door to the River, not
strong
far from here,
story
on Boogie
game.
Street. A mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard, and a toolbox sits under the driver's. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
It has to be an advanced model to fit so many frequencies next to each other without blending them together.
No, that's on 78.9. I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least, perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The ghostly action. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Oh.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
Rub off the pattern from the driver's right boot sole.
Yes?
One of the footprints at the crime scene had an aberration. One sole was smoother than the other.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
Joyce told us, but not to make any assumptions.
Understood. We should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio voila, a stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachole. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Bonne prise.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There, hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881. High above the mass of brown and red roofs, that is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield. To Couronne, through the middle-income neighborhoods there, by the river, and then to Stella Maris and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road. This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital.
This guy's
right
what I was talking
adjacent
about.
to the 41st precinct. The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. These service tunnels were probably used during the construction of the foundation beneath the motorway. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to East Motor Tract.
So it would seem. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them. Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmerti behind it. The Besmerti is a Revacholean crime syndicate. They see themselves as the inheritors of the 14 Revacholean Indo-tribes. But really they're just violent gangs vying for control on the west side of Revachole. With cool names, like La Puta Madre and...
Puta Madre!
It's a dark parody. It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick this up later.
The stack of maps looks. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty. It's an issue of Periphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the ULAN frequency system.
The ULAN frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
Pull out toolbox sliced back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Posters, a radio, dust on the windows. It closed the rusty oak.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective?
Yes.
All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the ULAN frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. Oh, and the maps we found. They reveal the geographical extent of the operation. Looks like they've used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
How do you think about the movie posters?
As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade.
A lot of women there, especially for a lady driver's cabin.
Yes, well...
Ooh.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other ends, as extra ammunition.
Meaning, someone as slippery as Everard won't be caught by a couple of cops and some stuff they found in some cabin.
Yeah.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Maverick grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over.
Debrief over. Alright, that was pretty good. So now we can check out with the woman and she can help us, but at the same time we can wait for the badge. Wait to like hope to find the badge tomorrow when the bridge opens. Hey man.
Oh look.
Sorry. The Hardy Boys still in the restaurant?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered?
Wait a second, she's been following.
It doesn't really matter. And I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Revachole West.
That's quite the statement. So we're still researching this one. Thinking like whether to get another skill of sorts or like hand-eye coordination. Inland Empire. Or rhetoric, so we can talk with that talk with that what is it, the container, try to open that container with rhetoric. Yes.
Since you are sharing, man, this is also the RCM's worst case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail.
Discover something amazing inside.
They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched. Last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders. For now, it's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
Have to say, this is not disco. Oh yeah.
It was the Union who strung him from that tree. My hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before Crenel indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The Debardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Seraï's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
Shit.
These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Too many things have already gone wrong. Nameless, badgeless detective of the Citizens Militia.
Oh.
All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much, Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries.
Fourth
Guarding
world
facilities,
countries.
escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations. Their database is the single largest source of information in the world.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, man?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell.
Contact the company.
I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
He's assaulted the woman.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
But we know it's not
This
quite
does
like
not come as news to us, but still. To your knowledge, where did this assault take place, if you know?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. Good. Then you've made progress. It's imperative that you move fast. The tribunal will not be patient. If you mean did I see him alive? Yes. But I did not know him. Lerley, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman,
Oh
Phyllis
damn!
DePaul.
One of the
Corty
military
is
contractors
the
is a
gunner,
woman.
I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed. This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachole citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
92%, huh?
That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. Besides, you're until the executions start. Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you.
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. They don't have the same respect. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens...
This is so embarrassing. You have no idea.
Oh,
There's
really?
something wrong with...
Fuck, we missed that check. Got 92% and we missed
to run
it.
into them eventually.
One is up, the other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a border keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better until the...
They don't
Not on this. It's a matter of days.
Alright.
I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you,
Now, can
of
you
course.
tell me about the tattoos?
Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a Trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century, over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels.
Really?
The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semnes Islands, then this, Revachole. Those are the two constants, Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachole in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Semnes Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachole, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture.
Oh.
This man was their friend and comrade.
We could
Surely
try
there are
that.
other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task.
Do what you have to do, Detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Also talk to me.
You
about-
have. And how did you like Mr. Clare?
Finally, time to choose sides.
Huh. It's a beautiful man. Beautiful and just. And for associates,
Of course. He must have his practical uses. How else could he have kept his position all these years? Or wait. Actually, he could have kept it with corruption. Fantastic, worm-like corruption that reaches into the bowels of the earth.
Yeah.
The RCM does not pick sides in this, madame. I hope it doesn't come off any other way.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt worm myself.
Oh.
However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
A referral, you mean? I take it this was for someone in the RCM. Don't answer that. Oh my. A real door.
The lieutenant does not say anything, but you hear the nylon of his jacket rustle as he looks at you.
That's good to hear, Detective. Police work is rarely pretty, but it sounds like you did what you had to do.
Her bartering mind cannot fathom that you didn't ask anything in return.
Frankly, what was done was not pretty at all, but neither was it illegal, and it was not for nothing. I advise you to be very selective with what information you choose to share. This may have consequences beyond our line of sight.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't tell her that he's helping us find our lost gun.
Misinformation. This is all because we haven't shared information on the lynching yet. See? Already the adversary uses it to their advantage. Don't let him. Hurry up on that probe. The moment you tell me you're finished at the traffic jam, I will gladly tell you the company's side of the story.
She must really want you to look into the drugs. Otherwise, she'd tell you.
I wouldn't have taken Everard for a saber rattler. Was he surrounded by union men?
Get trapped in
to impress?
Trapped in a dialogue loop. Really?
No.
Huh.
It was more like he wanted things to get worse. In secret, of course.
Or he wants you and me to believe he's calm and in control. He's a politician.
There's
Fair
always
enough.
that risk, man. But if I may offer my opinion, he means it.
I'll think it over, Detective. Thank you for relaying this information to me.
Have I underestimated the Union's ferocity? She has to ask herself by now.
How benevolent. Hopefully they'll help you sort this whole business out, if they haven't already.
While we appreciate your assistance, ma'am, I'm afraid we can't.
That is only fair. Well, I hope it yields something. Otherwise you'll have opened that door for naught. What you've said is quite enough. You've given me a lot to consider, and may have helped me prevent this conflict from escalating. Of course, Detective. Until then, is there anything I can help you with? Of course, Detective.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. And yeah, we can tell her that the lynching was a cover-up, because that's the there's so many layers to this. You know, the fact that the guy was shot and everything. But it's getting close to the end of the day. And I also want to remove the boots from the guy and take them out. So, yeah.
The man is decomposing visibly. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Try to remove the man's boot. Speed train, Kuno, leaving the station. Yeah. We could try asking the scab leader about the tattoos. If he's still... Right, it's nighttime. He's not gonna be here. Next morning. I assume it's probably the same with the Hardy boys. They're probably not here anymore. Yeah. No, they're still here.
The clowns are still hanging around. What is it now?
I think a punch trying that. Yeah, I know. Well, that's why we quick save before.
Fuck! I knew that fucking whore couldn't be trusted.
Oh. He did not like that.
For the record, Titus Hardy did not explicitly specify the victim as a woman, nor did he say anything about trusting her.
Oh, shut up and stay out of this, Liz. He raped her. He was out of his fucking mind. You have no idea.
She's just in denial, asshole. You don't understand the traumatic experience. She's shutting down. And she doesn't fucking trust you.
Yeah, she's crazy, you know. A crazy bitch. You know the type. She's fucked up.
This is a diversion. Stay on track.
Lawman, I'm at the end of my goddamn rope with you. I fucking told you not to push her.
His hands become fists.
And you went and pushed her. I am gonna fucking
hit you. Duck.
Titus Hardy. Everard personally sent me to take care of this. If this goes south, we'll all be in the shit. But you,
my asshole
Titus
puckered,
Hardy, are going to be buried. Am I understood?
When she's angry, she emphasizes the S. It gives her voice a strangely hypnotic quality. Her lips barely move as she speaks. Someone has to rush in to break the tension. The second in command.
Look, Copper. We know that that fuck was a rapist and a killer. We got him confessing to it on tape. Show it to him, T. What's the harm, right?
Here, jerkwad. Listen to this shit. And then come back and tell me the soldier of the apocalypse was an innocent man.
This is their last play, this tape. Their story is in tatters. A mess. It might be nice to listen to, but at this point, you don't need to.
You think we go into this shit deaf and dumb? You RCM aren't the only ones who know how to bug people. There's no university degree for that. We have machines. We're in logistics. How do you think a harbor works? It's advanced stuff.
Understood? You've listened in on their communications. How long?
Since way before their chief started taking swing lessons.
Things got nice and quiet after that.
It's not advanced. You just hold up in a coop all day, writing down what they say. It gets hot as hell in there.
Don't put yourself down, Angus. It's important work.
Yeah, man. You're like a radio genius or something. Those notes are some in-depth stuff. Indexes and shit.
You don't care about evidence. The fuck are you a cop for, then?
Pigs, T. They don't care about getting the truth. they care about getting convictions. They are fucking keeping a score on their bulletin boards.
I won't be on your bulletin board. If you don't listen to the tape, we got nothing to talk about.
There's a lot of questions. If you ask them now, they'll just keep bringing up the tape. Listen to it, and they'll have nothing to hide behind.
I'm sure we can find a tape player.
Where can I listen to this? Why don't you try shoving it up your ass, genius?
Yeah, play it with your ass, cocksucker.
I'm sure we can find a tape player.
Your room had one. Or maybe it's too broken.
Don't forget your tape, lawman. Compliments of Titus Hardy. You do that. Oh, and keep it. Maybe you'll need a reminder of human ugliness someday.
All right. It's a good progress. We can save and then we can ask
The clowns are
about the
still
drug
hanging
trade.
around. What is it now? Like hell you have. There is no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are in precinct 41 kilos.
We'll do that. In the meantime, did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock? The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprint. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grace?
The thought forms in your head, like a lightning strike branching in the sky.
That's a mighty interesting theory. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong, state-run monopoly would outcompete the runts on the street.
Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you would do. To get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies.
You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly. For the good of the community, of course.
Right. I mean, that's the whole idea behind legalizing drugs. You'd put it in the hands of the state and not leave it to organized crime and gangs. They just took that.
Yes, but that just sends everyone else to Jamrock, doesn't it?
We haven't done anything. But theoretically, it has to be someone's problem. So it might as well be yours.
Titus, I'm amazed. Where is the same professionalism when it comes to other topics? You're doing great. I hardly have to interfere at all.
I don't know, Lizzie. I guess theoretical things don't make me emotional. Now, was there anything else? I was sorta gonna get my brewski on.
Drug is legal, however, it's far from perfect. It's not a town. In Oregon, they passed a motion to decriminalize all drugs, similar to Portugal, but they actually, that was 2 years ago, and this year they actually passed a law to criminalize some of them back on, so didn't last for long.
Mr. Hardy. There were 8 sets of prints on the crime scene. There are only 7 Hardy boys here.
My answer is, fuck off. Mind your own business. There is no 8th Hardy. I run this goddamn scene.
And here we go. Back to the usual.
Why though? Well, they haven't invested in like preventative and like rehab enough, and obviously, you know, I mean, drug use have risen all across the US, but it's obviously more visible in places where it's not legally punished. So yeah, they couldn't resist the public pressure, so they kind of went back on it, even though I still think it's the right decision.
I know!
fat he walked on all fours. He's so fucking fat he left 2 sets of footprints.
Despite everything, the little man is quick on his feet.
Go fuck your mom, Dennis.
That's more like it, boys. You heard him. It was Angus on all fours. Anything else you need to know?
Yeah. By friends, you mean his squad mates from Cronell.
Wouldn't want to beat up his grandma.
This is what happens if you take the law into your own hands. Other people start doing it too.
Let them come. The Hardy Boys are right fucking here.
You heard the man. Right here. We're armed. We got the whole district behind us. And Glenn. Glenn is fucking crazy.
Yeah. A well-oiled murder machine.
The mood is on the rise. They're feeling confident, ready to punch out the whole Merc platoon.
Monitor a road with no consequences? That's a tough question, my man. There are a lot more variables that have to be considered there.
We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeelagers. Glenn's got a knock cannon at home.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna see, aren't we?
That was an unsure phrasing.
Yeah, like you've been up against ceramic armor. You haven't even seen the whole suit, right? I've seen the whole fucking thing, and it didn't make him immortal. The fuck is that supposed to mean?
We're not bees. We're men. We're socialists.
Easy, E. He's trying to phase you. What are you trying to do? Scare my men? So are the local gangs. The fucking Barmy Army and the Madre scum. You've been out there. Seen any around?
Yeah. Where are they now, huh? Sent back to Madre in an airtight cargo crate.
These people are trained military professionals. Special forces, as you said. They're not a gang or Barmy army.
No, they're not. They're uncoordinated and drunk. Don't forget, we're listening in on their communications. Their shit is way apart. What do you mean, okay? No, they won't. Get out of here with your negative energy.
All he means is that the situation is serious.
No wonder you cops get shot to shit every day. Can't go to war with an attitude like that.
Alright, I think we've got everything we could from him for now. Got a new thought?
Jamais vu. Derealization. Jamais vu. The opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
You've been having. And for who knows how long. You should go and ask Joyce Messier about this. What world are we in?
Plus 1 XP for every orb click. Nice. All intellect learning caps increased by 1. That's an okay one to have. And I guess we can do... I don't like losing any of these, but fine. Mazovian socioeconomics. Let's go. I'll have to wait until tomorrow, however. Tomorrow in day and next time until we stream, because we are gonna end it over here. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed watching. Make sure you have a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you next time. We're going to make it stop working. Bye bye.